What's up guys? Alex Yu here with the Ragin Ronin review, and I got a review for you. Last Tuesday I saw Safe, and it's not to be confused with Safe House starring Ryan Reynolds. This is a movie starring Jason Statham. And if I had to call it something, I would call it The Transporter meets The Corruptor, because Jason Statham plays Frank Martin in pretty much every movie. If you don't know, Frank Martin is the character of the Transporter that Jason Statham is most famous for. I say it is Transporter meets Corruptor because you have the same kind of setting where it's about New York cops, or corrupt cops rather, facing off against the Chinese triads, but they also added in the Russian mob. In a nutshell, this story is about this little Chinese girl, and she memorizes numbers. She's really good at mathematics and memory and all that stuff. She is being chased after by Chinese triads and Russian mob and corrupt police officers, and Jason Statham originally had nothing to do with this, but then he sees what the girl is going through, and then he decides to help out. Just out of just sheer coincidence, he just happened to be passing by on the subway and he saw that the girl was in trouble, so he decided to get involved. And that's really what the story is. And I gotta say that out of every movie where Jason Statham is in an action role, which he always is, this is the most dynamic role that he's been in, just because it's a more human role. There's more acting involved as opposed to just being like the silent cool type and just fighting. Because in almost every Jason Statham movie, you expect him to fight, because, well, he's actually a martial artist in real life. You do expect him to fight, especially since the Transporter is what made him famous. There's actually quite a bit of action in this movie. There's hand-to-hand fights, there's car chase, and there's a lot of gun battles. There's a lot of gun battles, and it's a pretty violent movie. But like I said, this is a pretty dynamic character for Jason Statham. It's a more emotional role. Not to say that he did that amazing of a job, just because I'm not used to seeing him as an actor, like an actor. I just see him as like the cool fighting dude that he's most famous for. But I'll tell you that he's not as cool as Frank Martin, but not as crazy as Chef Chelios, like in Crank. So this is somewhere in between. And like I said, it's a more human character because he cares more about this little girl. I'll tell you that it's a very action-packed movie. And another thing is that the movie just moves really fast. There are two halves in this movie, and I'll tell you that the first half moves really fast, and then later on, it kind of loses momentum after in the second half. And I think it's because the movie is actually really engaging, because you're trying to figure out what are these numbers for? What is this secret number for? Apparently, we find out later on what it's for, and then afterwards, you're no longer that engaged. Just because the secret has been revealed, and they should have revealed that in the end of the movie. And that's actually my biggest thing about this movie. I mean, like, I feel that this is a bit of a flaw in this movie, and that is I was really engaged by all the action that took place in the first half of the movie, but then even though the second half had a lot of action, I'm no longer that connected to the story, because once they revealed what the numbers actually do, then it's not as interesting as it was. So that was a bit of a flaw in the movie. But I still like the movie. Like I said, it's a very violent movie. I love the direction in the movie. The fighting is just it's brutal. The fighting is brutal. This is an R-rated action movie, and I love the camera work, especially during the car chase. There's some really neat sequences where there's some just really long takes, and the camera just goes inside and outside of the car, and it's pretty cool. So I've never seen any work from this director before. I don't even know. I think it's Boaz Yakin. But I enjoyed this movie. The only thing that I thought that could have been done better was the ending. Now, don't get me wrong, I did like the movie, but there's something that I found was like, well, that's it. Like, that's it. But another thing is that it ends right. It ends right, but it's not very satisfying. So you'll know why when you watch the movie. I don't want to spoil anything, but it ends very appropriately. But you expected more from it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but let's just say the way the main villain was taken out was very appropriate, and it was right. Like they made a good decision to do it that way, but it leaves you wanting more from the side of Jason Statham in terms of what he can do. I hope I didn't spoil anything. I was trying to be as vague as possible. But anyways, I enjoyed this movie. Like I said, the movie is actually very engaging up till after they reveal what the numbers are about halfway through the movie. And then afterwards, you're just watching it just because there's a lot of action, but you don't really care about the rest of the story. And there you have it. That's all I have to say about this movie. I enjoyed it. It was just pure entertainment. I like that Jason Statham has been typecasted in these roles because he's one of the last remaining action heroes of today. So I like what he does. I like that he brings the raw, you know, the raw power of his you know, martial arts skills to the big screen. So there you have it. Anyways, 6 out of 10. Catch it on a cheap night or a matinee or something like that, but there's really no need to go out to rush and watch this movie. Anyways, if you enjoyed this review, as always, hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, and also follow me on Twitter. And also, I want to give a big shout out to Tony Collins. Tony Collins hooked me up with a Famous Players Silver City a gift card, and because of that, I was able to get a free movie out of it. So thank you very much for sending that on Mail Call Mondays. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Tony. You are the man. And you know that gift cards for the movie theaters is always something that I could use because I'm always watching movies. So thanks a lot, Tony. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Peace. Bro, it's almost like you cannot not like Denzel because of that. Some people don't like Ryan Reynolds just because he plays the same type of character, but I think there'll be